This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast, where business leaders share their insights. It is 6 questions in 7 minutes because successful business leaders are busy and rarely have more time to spare. So let's get to it. Question number 1, in a few sentences, please tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, I consider myself to be the connector of the unconnected and to be also the conduit of everybody else's greatness. That's the real answer to your question. What says or what you can read on LinkedIn is a little bit different, but it's much more boring.
Well, and Angel, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Question number 2, and this one's going to be right up your alley. What is something that makes you smile and or laugh about working in your industry?
Definitely when people are not aware of the consequences of what they do. That's definitely something that makes me smile all the time. I try to be extremely hard on myself, so that's why I try to laugh and smile as much as I can.
I love it. I love it. Question number 3. I have a fictitious book with all the answers for business. What chapter would you think most companies should read?
Well, it would probably be chapter number 13, because it's that level in the hotels, excuse me, I had a lapsus right now. So what I'm trying to say is that there's always a chapter that nobody wants to read. When you're trying to go to a specific floor and the hotels don't have the floor number 13,
right?
It'll be definitely number 13. And that one is definitely the one that talks about being humble enough to be the right leader for your team.
I like that a lot. And it's the way that you position that as the chapter that people don't want to read. It really is, because there's a reason that they don't. Maybe there's fear or whatever it happens to be. And, and so you really raise a great point there. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Question number 4, other than the generic work harder, have a great attitude, and care for customers, what advice or insight would you give to other business leaders?
Well, that's my mantra. So it's going to be an easy one. It's take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. I think that we are actually raised, we grow up being too hard on ourselves, as I said before, and we have to take too many precautions in order to do something and to show this to the world. I think that to be successful, you have to start literally showing your products, your services, who you really are, on a very blunt, genuine way to the world. And that's the best way to actually proof test who you are and proof test your products and services. That's definitely the piece of advice that to give everybody.
I think that's really wise, and especially, it really makes a big difference there. And I think I'm glad that you shared that with the audience. Thank you for that. Question number 5, what other business leader like yourself would you like to acknowledge and invite to be on my podcast?
Well, I would definitely like to invite or to suggest that you bring Mr. 𝐚𝐰𝐿 𝐿. He has a wonderful book. Actually, I have it here. I didn't think of this, so I have it here. It's called The Baker's Dozen: Rules of Highly Successful Business Operators. This is a book that has not been published. It has been actually made in a very specific way with contributions of hundreds of C-level executives. So it's a very interesting book, and it's basically the legacy of Mr. 𝐚𝐼𝐿 𝐘𝐿, who has trained more than 20,000 C-level executives and business operators in large corporations in the world for the last 25 years. That's definitely my choice.
Wow, thank you for that. I'm looking forward to actually reading that book, because especially if it's got contributions from all these different business leaders, you're getting a plethora of ideas, I assume, from that book.
Absolutely, and he's a great guest. You'll see.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for that referral. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And our final question number 6. Please tell me about your first job.
Well, my first job ever was when I was a kid. My father was the CEO. I was literally 12 years old. My father was the CEO of a group of companies in Spain. I'm originally from near Barcelona in Spain. And one of those companies was a fish farm. So every single afternoon, my father would drive 1 hour and a half to go to the fish farm from the headquarters of the company. And I would go with him every single afternoon in order to put trouts, rainbow trouts, inside boxes. And I would get at that time we didn't have pesos, we had pesetas, in Spain. So
Mm-hmm.
I would literally get a specific amount of money. Actually, it was 5 pesetas for every single box that I would, put trouts on every single day. That was my first job ever. Was I not so happy with that money that summer? Oh my God.
And I'm trying to picture this because the rainbow trout and when by putting the trout in there, so were you using were you just picking them up with your hands and putting
So
them in the
basically, there
box?
would be this big container,
Uh-huh.
dumping all those trouts, already dead trouts, onto this big, massive, stainless steel table, and then there will be many, many people around the table with these, white boxes that they keep that they isolate the temperature, right? So we would put the trouts, sideways,
Mm-hmm.
so that I think it was like 22, 23 trouts per box. Again,
Wow.
I boxed so many trouts, right? And then, I would take them to a place, they would weigh them, and then they would put additional trouts, or they would take out trouts out of them. It would be 5 kilos per box. Oh my God. I think it's
Wow.
the first time ever I explained this story to anybody.
Well, I love
Honestly,
it.
honestly.
And the visual is so great as well. So thank you for sharing that. And Angel, thank you so much for being on the show. How can people find you?
Oh, thank you very much. Very easy. Obviously, you can go to these boring places as in LinkedIn and everywhere else. But I would say send me an email. I have either myself or my team. We always have time to respond. It's very easy. It's Angel, spelled like in Angel from Heaven, and then at @angelrebo.com. Rebo is my last name. It's spelled like RIB as in boy O. So it's Angel at angelrebo.com.
Perfect. This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast. Thanks for listening.